Yo, what up? Boogie Frantick in the place to be. This is where I tell everybody my name, my crew, and my age. I'm just playing. Alright. Yo, what up? My name is Boogie Frantick, and my given name is Ricardo Rodriguez Junior. It was given by my father. I represent the crew, formerly Mighty Zulu Kings, and we are now MZK. The companies that I run with are the Legion of Extraordinary Dancers, Academy of Villains, Substance Over Hype, Dance Masters, and Physical Poets, and also my community organization, the Great One-Eighters. First time I was here was back in 2010. Randomly decided to take a job, came here for leisure and work, and ran into Leal, which we ended up becoming good friends over time. Set up some workshops and got to visit Rotterdam and Eindhoven, right? And Amsterdam, while I was staying in Amsterdam. My feelings about this whole week, like this whole experience, it's been 10 days here for Summer Dance Forever, and it's been surreal, you know. Being in the city alone has been surreal for myself. It's kind of like a bittersweet visit. Just enjoying the fact that, you know, I get to really be myself and be who I am. Like, I don't have any closed doors and anything to hide for anybody, so it's really cool. Like, I actually get to come here and just be myself. It's partially been a slight bit lonely, but I think that's kind of my own fault. I've been kind of isolated from, like, sort of joining the event full time, like throughout the whole days. But I also feel it's because of the emotions that I'm going through just being here. So that's kind of why I've been like a little bit almost separate, but still with the people. You know, whenever I get the chance, like I'll talk to everybody and hang out and go to eat and do something and hang out during the evening, talk with other people. But it's really amazing because I'm getting a lot of like young dancers like coming up to me asking me like huge questions, you know, like huge questions, like life-changing questions. Like literally my answer will, you know, dictate the rest of their life kind of questions. So it's been pretty deep. Like, I've been having to really be cautious about what I say, how I say things, and not that I can't be myself and that's not who I am. It's just I realize, you know, like these people are really searching for something, and dance is like also becoming partially commercial now, to where these events aren't so, you know, as fun, but they become fun. I mean, they're still fun. Everybody's enjoying dancing and all that, but people seem like not to win, so they kind of get disappointed in themselves, and it changes their whole, you know, idea about what an event is. So I feel like the competitive nature is kind of souring the actual culture a slight bit, because people are feeling that they have to be accepted in some way or another. So it's good, you know, there's like pros and cons, you know. Pros is obviously you get to see amazing dancers come. I got to judge with Rashad and Juan, and that was like really dope experience. Like the fact that, you know, our styles are completely separate. Rashad is an East Coast dancer, I'm a West Coast dancer, Juan is a Korean dancer. It's like you totally have made we all have totally made an impact in the scene, like individually, just with our own flavor. So that's really cool, you know, being able to stand there and really be like, yeah, man, we did some work, you know, like I really appreciate it. But, you know, watching the hip hop, appreciating the house, appreciating, you know, all the competitors, like that was really cool, you know, being able to see even like the young poppers. Like, it was funny because Rashad bumps me like halfway through the thing and goes, man, they love you here, bro. Because like it had little girls from different countries like throwing the West Coast at me and smiling and just enjoying it, you know. And I was like, like, did I really make that much of an impact on this like scene? You know, like it really like it made me laugh, and I got to enjoy the event a little bit more because it was like they really were appreciating me for who I was. At least that's what it looked like, you know. But that was really cool. You know, I got a couple dubs up in my face, and I was like, all right, I feel you, you know. So that was cool. Then the weekend came. Well, the after parties were amazing. Like the after parties was really, really, for me, one of the best parts of the event, because it's not often you get 3 or 4 different types of parties back to back to back, and that to me was like the best. Like that's the best, because that's where I come from. I come from clubbing and going out and dancing and enjoying the culture that way, where it's like it's just a real raw element of what we go through on day to day. Like, so whatever I'm going through, like I'm letting it out in that cipher. And I just remember I haven't walked out of a club with sweaty pants in like a long time. And this event, I literally had to wash my pants like 2 days in a row. You know, I was like, Jesus, I'm at the laundromat again, like just to wash jeans. That's my fault. I should have packed more pants, but still, you know, I'm not trying to have some funky ass clothes. But again, Thursday was like a funk night. Friday was well, Thursday was like a broken beat night. It was kind of like Friday is when it turned up. Like they had really like a lot of funk on the upstairs. Saturday was a house, and then my homeboy Weham, who's a Tomahawk Bang, he's a house DJ. He spun, so it was really dope to hear him and his sound. Like he brings a different element to house, and I feel like that was, you know, people were actually coming up to him like, yo man, like you were dropping some fire, you know, because even Vogers were like voguing during his sets and stuff, and it was like different, you know, brought different styles to the table, which was amazing. Sunday, you know, my boy Leal's hosting and doing this whole thing, getting the crowd hyped. It was really cool. Just seeing that, you know, seeing him grow into like his actual, you know, his who he is. Like he's made an impact in the scene, and that's really amazing for me. Like to see that, you know, him going from a dancer wondering if, you know, this is what he wants to do, to like he's just doing it for the fun of it and the love and supporting. He's actually holding the mic, hosting the whole club, so that's really amazing. But then, you know, we got to see some battles and stuff, and that's really was the impact for me. And that brought me back to the essence of like, yes, this is why we are here, because we are here to just express, you know. And it was really dope. Like that experience alone allows me to connect with dancers from all over the world, and I feel like we get to connect more that way because we're all, you know, busting our asses dancing in the cypher and just letting it all out. Like we're thankful for this moment, you know. Like we literally didn't want to leave Saturday. I made a little Instagram video where it was like we just kept screaming and yelling for no reason. Everybody was just on that vibe. They were high off of dancing, you know. So it was really amazing. Sunday is the same. Like nobody wanted to go. Everybody wanted to still chill, hang out, and kick it. The past 3 days have been like just nonstop classes, and that has been like the most draining part because I'm talking and trying to really reach my students. When I start my classes now, I notice that I'm trying to really show them that I'm here to teach them. I'm not here to be like, hey guys, look at me, like let's follow along. Like I really want to actually reach them and challenge them, because I feel like if I'm a teacher, I need to be challenging my students anyways. Like that's the key, you know, like are you really learning this, or are you just here to just look at me, you know? Like what's your purpose? Like find your purpose. I'm here to help you find your purpose. You know, so that was really cool. Like a lot of the first few classes, people were really like starting to realize that I'm here to be that teacher, to show them like you can really come up with all types of ways to approach this dance and not stick to just one thing and not look like everybody else, you know. So, and that to me is like, I feel like having that responsibility is huge, you know. It's a heavy weight on my shoulders because I'm not used to talking so much, and I do like to talk, but I'm not used to talking so much. I got a very soft-spoken voice, so I'm not one of these guys that's like always in your face and super energetic and always talking. No, like it's just me giving myself 100% to this moment, you know, and hoping that these kids or these adults and these people like wanting to find a better excuse to pop, like find more than just a better excuse. Like they actually find more of a purpose to feel the music, to understand, to listen to the music, to play with sounds, to, you know, break down barriers that they're keeping themselves from growing as just a dancer. So that's really been like a huge impact. And the feedback that I'm getting from these students is like the questions don't stop. Like I walk in my class, there's questions. I walk out of class, there's questions. I walk down the street, there's questions. It's like consistent teaching every day. And I'm not tired of it, to be honest. I'm like actually like, I need a break. Like give me just a moment to breathe and get my thoughts together. But it's like, you know, I know taking on this responsibility as like even just a dancer or what people would call me as like a celebrity dancer, like it's a huge responsibility. And I feel like for some of us to shine on these young kids and just push them away is it's kind of whack, you know. I feel like everybody kind of needs that attention. And I notice now, like, we're all lost, you know, we're all lonely, we're traveling, we're not home. Some of us are, but we're still not home because you're surrounded by people from other countries. So you're kind of like, you're understanding like these people they need something, you know, we all need something. And I feel like that's what dance and this culture like brings, you know, it makes people feel accepted, you know. And it's like, and to me, I feel like when you look for that, it's kind of like a slap in the face. But I feel the harder you work, the more you just become a part of what we are, you know. And that to me is a huge key for anybody. Being myself in the States is already set and done, you know. Like it's kind of like here, being somewhere else, usually you're kind of very protective and you're not really opened up to people. But for here, I feel like like even here or anywhere, like anywhere across the world, the fact that I'm traveling a lot more, like it just allows me to open up and be myself and be comfortable being that way. But there's certain countries where they don't speak English and I don't speak their language or native language, so they don't understand what I'm saying. So sometimes when I'm asking them, hey, ask me a question, you know, I want to teach you, they're looking at me like I don't know what to ask you, you know, because they don't know how to articulate in English, or they're shy because they're like, they've never had a teacher challenge them that way, you know. So there's like some countries where it's been a rough road. Like I don't get any questions at all, and then I don't get inspired to teach because I'm sitting there going, they just want to follow what I'm doing, you know. It's like that's not who I am. Like no way. Since day one, like I wasn't even gonna be a teacher for this because of that. Like, I didn't want to be one of these guys that just teaches people to follow the leader, you know. It's like you can do that anywhere. You can do that on YouTube. You can do that at home. You know, it's like I'm trying to build new leaders for this generation. That's it. Actually, I'm in the process of learning myself again anyways because I've been injured for like 5 months. So I just, like within a month, I just started training. I started exercising again. And that's been a challenge for me because even doing this battle and breathing this air here, like I would think I could breathe fine here, but for some reason my breath just seems to be off. Like I don't feel 100% like fully connected to myself, like as far as like my breathing and, you know, my energy. So it's been a challenge. So even teaching, I'm like, man, dude, like I feel like I'm getting exhausted. Like this is crazy. So I feel like, you know, I have to work on myself anyways. And that's kind of when teaching these classes and learning from these students, I'm going full out 100%. And they are really understanding now how high I set my bar, you know, for myself. Like, so imagine if I'm here doing like this move, or I'm showing them this move, right? I'm showing them a drill, and I'm showing them, okay, look, this is like 75%, this is 85%, this is 95%, this is 105%, this is almost 200%. Like they're starting to see how much more you can grow into like your energy, you know, like you can really apply the movement and your mentality along with the music. Like it's so many guidelines that you can follow and then eventually put them all together and make it like that little masterpiece of a drill. And that's just drills. These are just exercises. So I learned this from training, like doing even, what was it, CrossFit for like 2 years. Like I realized the more technique you have down, the cleaner and effective your workout is going to be. On top of that, the more exhausted you are, the more focused you are. The more you shut your brain off, the more you're able to push your body to that next level, you know? So I apply this style of training to my popping, and it's like, even if I'm exhausted, if my hip hurts, or if my legs hurt, like I'm still pushing through. And I'm looking at my students, and I'm going like, why are you quitting? Like I'm going 200%, and it still looks clean. Like you're barely even touching this, and you're already quitting on yourself. Like keep going, like keep pushing yourself, you know? So these are things that I'm starting to understand now. Like that's the newest thing that I just realized. Like I need to learn how to motivate my students to drill these drills, to really put that into their system. And one of the things that they expressed to me was how high I set the bar, you know, when it comes to animation and control and applying the body on these levels. It's like, did I really set it that high? Like I was really questioning, like, damn, like is it too rough, or is it like, you know? And I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna stick with it. Like it obviously seems to work, everybody seems to appreciate it, so I'm gonna keep going with it. But yeah, those are kind of the things I learned this week. Yo, what up? Boogie Frantick in the place to be. It's bittersweet because, like, last night I took a walk all the way towards the train station, and I walked a friend to the train station, but it was still like something I wanted to do because I recognized the street. And I ended up walking by the hotel that I was staying at. I took a picture of it. I took a picture of the Victoria Hotel, and I just captured these moments because in my mind I'm thinking like, and the last time I came here was because I was in a desperate need for money, and that caused me like to basically accept a stupid job. That's what ended up forcing me to go to prison. Coming here was offered like 20 grand to mule some drugs. I have no idea like what I'm touching or what I'm dealing with. I just needed the money, you know, and in my mind I was already spending the $20,000 already on like things that can help better my life. Headshots, a car, you know, rent for like 6 months, like things that I felt like, okay, these are what I need in order to survive until the end of the year and make something for myself, because I really want to use dance and continue doing so. And being offered a job where you're like, here, you can make like $20,000, like on that day, the reason I decided to make that decision was because I got denied access into Canada. And being denied there was like, that was work, that was basically money in my pocket that I wasn't gonna have to pay rent for February, you know? So I'm in January now, and I'm going like, fuck, dude, like what am I gonna do? Like what am I gonna do for money? You know, it's like my job ended up firing me like 3 months prior because of some miscommunication with my doctor, so I didn't have a 9-to-5 anymore. And when it came to like asking for benefits from the government, like workers' comp, or not workers' comp, anyways, they give us money for not having a job, you know, and because I got fired I couldn't get that. So I'm like trying to figure out these situations on how I can apply my finances in a better state. But that day that I came back from the airport, from being denied access to Montreal, I hit up a friend. A friend was like, look, I don't want to do this, but I have a job. If you want to take it, go now. Tomorrow you'll head out to Amsterdam, and you'll make like $20,000. So I didn't even think twice. Get me there, you know. I went home. I didn't even think about it. I just kind of like rested and partied a little late. Ended up waking up late. We were hauling ass. I remember my friend got me to San Diego in like 45 minutes, and that usually takes us 2 hours. It was crazy. And that day I remember seeing like all kinds of chemtrails, like a ridiculous amount of chemtrails in the air. I'm going like, damn, they really do this shit every day, you know? And heading to the airport, I go to the airport, and like, without question, I'm just like, I'm just gonna go through with this. Like, why not? I land in Amsterdam, I have no idea where the hell I am. I'm like, yo, I'm just here, you know? I book a hotel, where I'm already on like Facebook chatting with Leal, and I'm like, yo man, like, isn't, you know, if I can, any spots for concession or teach a workshop or something like that. So he's like, yeah, you know, we could figure something out. Like, let's try it out. Like, so we set up some jams, and we set up some workshops and some sessions, and we hang out. And I'm like, I'm super thankful, you know, because he has no idea. Like, he has no idea, and I barely even have a clue, like, what the hell's going on. And I'm walking these streets, like, in my life going, like, when I get home, like, everything's gonna change, you know? And so it was like a life-changing experience to even just be in that situation, like walking these streets and appreciating like the architecture, the history. They all gave me like a huge history knowledge on the wars and stuff, and like, you know, the buildings that were rebuilt. And it was really dope, like getting a breakdown while we were walking around. And it was like wintertime, so it was cold as hell too, so it was dope. I had my pea coat on. I was like, yo, I'm good. Like, I'm good. I'm Gucci, you know? But coming home, well, the last day, I remember the last day for sure, because it was Leal and Leonie I asked to take to dinner. I was like, hey, you know, can I take you guys to go eat? Because I want to treat you. Like, I really appreciate the hospitality you guys have given me, and I want to treat you to a steak. You know, I know this restaurant, this guy I already met, and he's got like a brother who makes homemade chimichurri, and like, I'm this close to getting the recipe, so let's go back and see if we can get it. So the owner wasn't there, he had a family emergency, and then we just said, oh, we'll just have a dinner, we'll hang out, just eat, you know? So that was like the last day that I got to see them, and then I was on my flight back. But my flight back was like really, I was getting drunk, and now I don't drink, I'm sober. I'm actually been sober for like 5 years now. So, but then I was like, I didn't care. I would drink and just enjoy life that way, and kind of soak in my sorrows and suck it up. But I remember getting so hammered on the plane that it still didn't take away the nervous feeling I had, like something bad is about to happen, you know? And I felt it, like I felt it. I felt like something was gonna happen. But it's weird, with my personality, I'm kind of like a walking contradiction, you know? Like, I'm not that one guy that's like, nah, I shouldn't do that, or nah, I shouldn't grab that, and I grab it and buy it, you know? It's like, fuck. I'm like a person who's like that, but I think it's just in my Pisces nature. We're just two fish swimming in opposite directions all the time, so I always give in to certain things. But at that time, like, being the fact that I was drinking a lot, like, really put that out there, you know? It really made me like careless, and like I didn't want to listen to the right side of my mind, you know? I didn't want to listen to my consciousness. I was just like, nope, like, I'm just gonna just fuck off, like, that's it. So got to the airport, and right away it was kind of like they just were waiting for me. It was weird. The guy, first dude looks and he checks your thing, and he's just like, yeah, it looks like him. I guess that's where I kind of got, is like he recognized me of some sort. So he checks my little customs card. I walk over to the customs booth, and the guy's like, he just giggled and was like, follow me. Followed him, went into secondary, waited, and then these two guys with badges come through, and they're like, they call my name, call me over to grab my luggage. For my luggage, we go to this other secondary spot where they x-ray your luggage. At that time, like, again, I really had no idea, like, what I had, what I was doing, like what was in the bags. I just said, yes, I'll take this luggage to here, luggage looked fine, everything looked simple, and that's what, I don't know what they did. They did something. They couldn't figure it out. They kept x-raying it and x-raying it, so I thought they were going to let me go, and I guess they decided to cut their luggage open, and that's how they found. It was like 4 kilos of opium. Yeah, it was like, I guess, slid inside of the luggage. And so the reality of it is, I really had no idea, and that was the truth. Like, that's the one truth I couldn't hide from. I knew I accepted the position, but I didn't know exactly what was going on. They come, they cuff me, I end up in this room, and I'm just like, fucked. Like that was like, but I still was kind of buzzed. So I really, at that moment, still had no care for it. I was like, I'd rather be in jail than be outside and be broke. Like, that was just my thing. Like, fuck it, like, if this is what I have to deal with, then I'm just gonna fucking deal with it and work through it. Because I've had enough understanding and training from the streets that I'm like, being in jail is kind of the lifestyle. Like, this is just what we have to deal with when we make these decisions to survive, So being that my brother's been in and out of prison, my other brother, murdered from gang activity, it's like, the only craziest part was the fact that because of why my brother was murdered was the scariest thing. The fact that I had to face people that could possibly kill me just for being his brother, and that was the fear that I needed to face a long time ago. I should have faced a long time ago, and I decided it was just during this time. So yeah, that's why this trip has kind of been bittersweet. It's like, I ended up in federal prison. First, they were throwing at me 10 years, then they dropped it down to 7, then it was 5 to 7, then it was like 4 to 5, and then 2 to 3, and then that's where they kept it. I was blessed with a great attorney, and the letter writer ended up knowing my family. The letter writer ended up breaking down my whole life. And that was the hardest part. Like, admitting the things that I've had to go through and realizing all of this, and I'm still standing on my 2 feet. Like, being able to dance and travel the world and do these things and be on TV, be in movies. But the stuff that I had to admit to, as far as like what I've been through, even as a kid, like, that's what really kind of set for me and made this like life-changing experience, like really life-changing, because I really had to tell my story to the judge, and let him know, like bro, like, I don't have a silver spoon, I don't have the blessings of like knowledge of finances and education. So this is why I love teaching, because I realized, like, I remember being a teenage kid being like, I want to be a teacher because I want to be able to change the future. I would love for kids to appreciate somebody that actually cares, as opposed to somebody that's just forced to like read, chapter 6 through 4, or 6 through 8, and take the quiz at the end of 8. It's like you're really not going to teach us anything. Like, we have to read history books that are based on lives in our nation. It's like, I'm kind of like that person in high school. So I was very rebellious when it came to education, because I was wiser. I was a lot wiser and more aware of what was going on around like our states and our streets, because living on the streets was like the hardest thing. My mom was like always in and out of jobs. I moved into like 11 inner cities in just one major city, and like that's one side of LA, and then I've lived in like 6 or 7 from the other side of LA. So altogether, it's like, it's almost like 20 cities within Los Angeles, because my mom couldn't afford to keep us in one place at one time. We didn't have a house. We did have a house to grow up in. It was my grandmother's house. It wasn't even like our house. I mean, it was difficult growing up, period. Like, it was difficult. And like having to admit like some of the things that I've experienced was like, I think that was like the hardest shit. And then seeing your family, you know, support you because you're in a situation you can't get out of, like, it made me really appreciate everything so much more. And then I also got to really see why my brother has been in and out of the system and is very comfortable being who he is. So it's like, yeah, it's this trip has been hella bittersweet because it's like I'm here again, but for better reasons. And I feel like I just want to make my family proud. I don't know. Something has to come out of this. Something great has to come out of this, and I'm hoping that, you know, I'm one that can eventually, like, help my mom out of the situation she's still in. And, you know, now that me and my dad have, like, a really dope connection, it's, like, the same for him, you know? It's, like, I really hope that I can figure out a way to make it work.
Because you already changed direction and you made your way.
Yeah. But, you know, it's just, I gotta start educating myself all over again and all that. So it's not easy. It's not easy being in my shoes. But I'm here, I'm doing it, and trying to make the best of it and enjoying as much as I can. And just, you know, again, thankful, grateful, happy that I can change lives, you know, at the same time, like, while mine's still in the process of being changed for more positive. I can't look at it at all as it's all bad, you know, but why the fuck did I do that? And then, you know, I had, like, even my crew at the time, like, the leader, like, turn his back on me and just completely disregard, like, all the hard work I've done. And then another crew to accept me for the fact that of my differences and who I was, like, was just eye-opening, you know, like, how shady people can really be and how fake they are. Like, you really believe you're bullshit, you know? It's like, wow. Like, my loyalty has been tested in so many ways. Girlfriends, ex-girlfriends, family members, cousins, brothers, sisters, like, my loyalty has been tested so many ways. But while being locked up, I just remember telling my mom, like, never to worry. I'm like, I'm okay. Like, I'm fucking training like a beast. You have no idea how much stronger I am just because of this situation. And I wanted her not to worry. So I came out and started winning events left and right, and smashing the scene like it should have been, and changed, hopefully, like, set a bar for everybody, and just realize, like, look, like, I've never been a bad person. I've made bad decisions in my life. I get it, you know, but I'm not a bad dude. Yo, what up? Boogie Frantick in the place to be. More business active, smarter when it comes to finances. Like, I'd love to, you know, be able to save money, stuff like that. Like, stuff I never really had. Never had that understanding, and I'm not good at it, you know, but it's just like things like this I need to really start teaching myself, and that's the hardest thing. And that's really why I've yet to even commit to a relationship, because I'm like, I'm not ready for that. I'm not ready to take on a parent, you know, being a dad. Like, I want to be a great dad. I don't want to be just a dad who's like here and there, and like, I have to travel the world. Sorry, I got to work, son. Like, I want to like have that. You know, I didn't have that as growing up. My dad wasn't here for like 16 years, so but we got to finally connect, and I realized like, damn, that was a missing part of who I was, and it helped me understand me more. Hold on, I remember the name. Talent is never enough. It was dope. These types of like connections I've made really have helped me change. And I still like, I have a copy in my storage, and I'm still gonna buy a copy to keep, because that like they're like mementos, you know, they're like milestones in your life. These little things that you can look at and it's like, we still got a mission to go, you know. Right now, it's just like, it's hard. This year's been super hard. I got fucking injured. I've gotten into a car accident. I've gotten like ridiculously like taken advantage of in certain countries. I had to move from one place to another. It's like, you know, all these things they're challenges of life, you know. So I'm hoping that in some way or another people understand that, you know, it's just gotta keep moving on. You gotta stay strong and stay motivated. You know, and just understand that all you can do is grow from that point on. No matter how low you may go or how low you may fall, it's like you still get up. What triggered the connection with my dad was just forgiveness, you know, and a time where I was like, was still growing as a person and like inner spirit and stuff. I had to really like start to forgive people in my life, and my dad was randomly at a Thanksgiving dinner that my sister invited me to, my sister Nidani, which is his daughter. At that time, it was with the girl that was like super deep with, like we were off and on for like 9 years. But so I was like, you know, luckily I had her with me, and I was kind of like, just, we really got to deal with this right now, you know. So, and just seeing him kind of like, it was interesting. It was different for me. Like I didn't hate him as much. And I didn't realize like, you know, it was like a scar trying to, you know, get covered up, but it was really like a beautiful scar. Like it was worth it. Like not having him there, and in the end, you know, like I helped become my own man, and his teaching even as me as a kid, like still to this day, I open doors for women. I, you know, treat women with respect. Like I treat myself with respect. I don't let people bully me. I don't let people bully others. Like I give tough love. Like there's just, I joke around. Like I realize like we have so much in common, you know, and it's so crazy. But it wasn't until my grandmother passed away, like it was really interesting because she was in her deathbed in the hospital, and I was like late at night, nobody was there, thankfully. At that time, like he was there, and I just let it out. I started crying, you know, and I was like, I just can't deal with this right now. Like this is crazy. So we hugged out, and I think that was like the moment that finally made me realize like having him in my life is like not a necessity, but it's like, wow, like it's like one of these, like I finally feel myself, like there's something has always been missing, and you kind of filled that hole, you know? So after that, our grandmother passed away like hours later, and I kind of feel like she was like set, you know, because she was in a coma for a while, and I feel like after that it kind of set her to pass on. So that kind of made me feel a lot better, and I realized like when she passed, it was like, okay, then this is good. Like this is a good thing. Like I didn't see her death as a bad. I saw that it's her connecting me and my dad together, you know, and that was worth the sacrifice. So the sacrifice has a lot to do with like why I even dance, like why I do what I do, and why I'm so deep when it comes to things. Because, you know, like my mom and my dad split up a long time ago. I was like a baby, and I was going back and forth trying to fight for either one to get back together, and it was just like all drama, you know. And then my dad was, you know, he's pretty, like I say, he's like extremely abusive, but he would like be abusive here and there, you know, and it was just to the point where I was like, I was fucking done. I was like a 6-year-old running away from, I was like in 4th grade running away, you know, trying to find a place to sleep so I didn't have to go home and get beat up with my dad for being late from school. So I was fed up, you know, watching my brothers and my sisters get hit, and like, I just didn't want to deal with it. Like, he's the one that taught me to be that way, so I'm not gonna fucking even deal with him being that way. So finally, like, my mom, she ends up picking me up after a day of school, and I had like a really real moment with him with that last day, and I remember him telling me like he was sorry and that he loved me, and I left it at that. I was like, okay, like, and that was the last day I saw him for like 16 years, you know. So at least I didn't leave on like a note where I was like, you know, just that him hitting me or something like that. And he saw it. Like, he saw I was hurt. I was getting tired of it. But I was too late. I already made plans. My mom picked me up from school, and I moved to the San Fernando Valley from East LA. So I started living with her, and with her it was just constant partying. My mom was just a party animal. So it was like always going out, always listening to my uncles and live bands. So I was just always dancing from that point on. But yeah, that connection is really where that's why it was like, it's so important to me, you know, like, and meaningful. Like, the fact that he's back in my life. He loves to cook. I love to cook. You know, my brother who was murdered, he loved to cook. So it was like, I used to do that in their honor, you know, while he wasn't there. So, but yeah. As far as my roots, like, music has always been around me. My uncles sing from my dad's side. My uncles had a band from my mom's side. Like, music has always been in my families. And my grandfather had a live band, his brothers and stuff, so they had a record out. It was really interesting to understand this. There's a lot of Mexicans in South LA, like south of California, and all throughout California. I should honestly say that, all the way up until like Washington. There's like Mexicans everywhere because it used to be Mexico. So a lot of us feel at home because this is our land, you know, like that's the land we live on. Honestly, like, the street culture is what helped build me, and the fact that I grew up around live music from my uncles to my cousins, and my oldest cousin Jerry was like my hip hop influence. And then I met DJ Hayes, who was a friend of mine, who helped bring that even deeper into my life. And then the fact that I love to dance, and the fact that Beat Street is what brought me to start popping, which is weird because we would think breaking, you know, like, because we're on the West Coast. But no, like, the lifestyle of Beat Street really inspired me to be like, yo, man, like, I'm not trying to be East Coast, but I'm just like, I love the fact that we can use this as a platform, because I do remember breaking. And breaking was a little bit more cornier than Beat Street. So it was kind of like, do I really want to go corny, or do I want to actually like be real and raw with the essence of hip hop, you know? So that was my thing, you know, and rap and gangster rap was one way. That was cool. That was part of the lifestyle of living on the West Coast. I'm not gonna lie, like, you know, jamming to that music, going to parties and enjoying ourselves. Yeah, we did that, you know, even at a young age, because obviously I was a lot more free than most kids. So we wake up with that lifestyle. We wake up growing up to these lyrics and this stuff, but there was also that groundedness of like golden era hip hop, where I'm listening to Common, you know, I'm listening to like Talib Kweli, I'm listening to Mos Def, I'm listening to Pharoah Monch, I'm listening to like all these dope ass lyricists and Master Ace, like, and just all this music is just flooding through me, because I'm like, man, like, this makes me just feel like I need to move. So I would always connect to it. But on the West, we would always listen to electro, party dance music, a lot of like King T, we had RBL Posse, NWA, like all these dope artists that were just all about the aggression of living in the streets of LA. So that's a huge part of who I am, you know, and people have not aware that I love to even listen to just Latin music. Pancho Sanchez, you know, of course Santana, you know, but I also go back to classic rock like Led Zeppelin, Iron Maiden, Deep Purple, and then funk, you know, Marvin Gaye. You have a lot of like funky oldies like Bretton Woods. There's like so much when it comes to music, and that's really what rooted me back. I used to be a high school kid with vinyl. I used to go crate digging with my mom, you know, so we'd go to thrift shops and I would buy records for like 25 cents, like come up with some dope shit. Anything with a dope label, I was like, I'm on it. Like, I had no idea what artist was, and I ended up finding The Mexican one time, the song The Mexican, which is a famous like B-boy jam, just by looking at the label going, damn, this album looks dope, you know, so. But yeah, I mean, searching music and always being around it, surrounded, was kind of like why I love it so much, you know, and dance the way I dance. I feel, even though I'm using animation and like LA techniques, I still feel like I'm musical when I move, you know. I definitely would say fight the system, graduate at the age of 16, like you should have, and like really rule the system. Like, use it to your advantage. Finish your college courses. Like, make sure that everything that was the opportunity that you had, and don't fall in love. Because that shit right there is really what put me in a whole different, like losing my parents, their separation, and then losing a girl was like, and at the same time losing my brother, losing cousins, and losing homies. Like, I was just like, I started to get lost for a second, you know. And that really was like a hardship of growing up. So I feel like, you know, I would say stick to that. The strength that you have, like everything that you felt was right, like stick with that. Follow your fucking heart.